Foto. Close enough. So you're,
Call the meeting to order. Eric, you have number one.
I've already done a roll call, so
Okay.
everybody's here except for Jeff, COVID-19, so he's last day of quarantine, so he'll be back.
Excellent. 3A, I'd like to send something to the city council on the INI and ask Eric to officially go out and ask for quotes to get the tanks inspected and give us our baseline. And that's something that we would have to vote on to send to the council. We have our ordinance for when property sells, but I think we're pretty much in agreement on. We can send that up to the council, and I will open it up for discussion on anything that we need to change before it goes to the council.
I know last week I gave you all those on-site inspection forms. I shall look over and see. Obviously, we would want whatever company you bid is awarded to do this checklist, and then take pictures and document and put the pictures back in with it. Was there anything else on here that y'all were wanting to see added onto the inspection?
Pretty thorough.
Obviously, it's inspecting both the septic tank, grease traps if they're there, and then also it will be inspecting the green tanks, as we call them, on there. Do we want to ask them to a price quote for installing risers, or is that something you want to do as a, what were your thoughts on the risers, I guess is what I'm asking.
Is that something city personnel could do, or is that you feel better having somebody else do that?
Yeah, I mean, the city can definitely do it, but it's working in between everything else. My thoughts are sort of just like the smart meters, the quicker we can get them done and in, the better off we are, because we're already solving the problem.
Well, if they're gonna be there doing the inspection, then they should do that while they're there.
Are you gonna develop the scope of work for this? Who's developing the scope of work for it?
Like, what we're gonna, the specs we're gonna put out for bid, it would be pretty much saying,
Do this.
do this,
And the feasibility of putting risers in or actually installing risers?
actually installing risers, just so next time they come back in to pump it out, it's already there, they don't have to dig for it.
I just want to be clear.
Yeah.
You know, Keith brought an inexpensive solution for a backflow prevention.
Right.
I would say we would want, if they're gonna open the lid to inspect the tank, slap one of them in there.
He sent me a quote back for 300 of these. It was roughly $11,000 for it. And so that's something y'all want to send on down the line and say, just these for 11, make the recommendation to council to approve the funds for those and have that done when they're inspecting them. So this contractor would also install these on them. We would provide them and then he would install them.
Right. Yeah, that's the time to do them.
So we would be doing the inspection and addressing part of our II problem.
Yes, exactly. Yep, you're exactly right.
Addressing the rise, through the risers and the backflow.
Now, obviously, some of the homes that are on Water's Edge should have caps on them. So we wouldn't have to worry about putting one of those on there.
I thought that was done already.
Yeah, so we wouldn't have to,
You don't have
put
to
those on
look at it.
there.
Only thing I would see on this checklist is have a diagram or something to show you the location of the septic tank.
It's good.
Or even a picture.
Or, well, it says right here, please attach all pictures with addresses of the inspection written on the back of the item. You have that little comment back here. But like, some people don't even know where the septic systems are. And this way you have a document for that each address or street. I don't know how your following system is gonna be, but you will know what to look for.
Yeah, and I'm assuming once we get the green risers on there, there's gonna be a whole lot more. That's your septic tank right there, that's your.
Right, the riser is gonna show a lot better, but.
No.
But we have some people who have it under concrete. How are we gonna do that? Are we gonna break that concrete up?
No, we're not.
Yeah, that's a great question. I'd love to hear everybody's advice, so.
That's still my driveway, no, we're not.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
So that's a good question. So when we do get to these homes that have poured patios over top of their septic tanks, driveways, stuff like that, what do we do?
Well, we're gonna have to get to them eventually, and then we're gonna look at working with them on moving those. I mean, I hope I'm not in that situation, but you would wanna be able to get to that septic tank.
Yeah,
You have to.
So
so,
you can get to mine, but like I've got manholes in the middle of my driveway, 2 of them, one's a grease trap, one's a septic.
Okay.
so you do have manholes?
Oh, yeah, there's just no way you're getting a riser on it.
Yeah,
That's right. Okay, yeah.
yeah, I think, yeah, I would,
I'm not sure every place that needs a riser deals.
right.
Everyone?
99% of our green tanks, I mean, our septic tanks, lids are buried, except for the new ones that we've addressed already.
Yeah, the risers, mainly so you can find it and here's it going, whatever.
So when you poured your driveway, you knew where yours
I
were?
didn't do that, it was there like that, my guy.
Yeah, okay, but they knew where it was, because I'm just thinking, finding them is one thing. Okay, so we obviously know that the septic tank is underneath this patio. Where do we have? You're more experienced than I am.
As a bidding contractor on this, I think as your task force, y'all need to address that. That needs to be cut and dry. How are you gonna handle this? We're gonna leave it up for discretion later on, because it's gonna make a lot of people mad when we start selling out porches and stuff.
Well, Casey, yours, would you put Holcomb around your lid? Feel like that way?
Oh, I'm agreeable to any solution, as long as I can still drive my wife's Mercedes through there, it's got this much room underneath it.
Right, no, that's a great point.
I don't care what.
But who's gonna pay, we're gonna talk, when you bust up concrete,
You don't get it, who's gonna pour the concrete back?
and it doesn't look the same, a lot.
Yeah.
And you had people out there just pouring concrete. They didn't even think about septic tanks. So how are we gonna address those people who didn't even know they had?
Well, I mean, that's an
It
extent.
was a construction violation to begin with.
Yeah. And as a
That's
person
I
who's
mean,
in
that's
that
illegal
position,
to pour concrete over.
I've accepted the fact that one of these days, that septic tank's gonna be bad. And I'm gonna have to bust out my driveway. And it's just gonna be cost of doing business. I didn't put it there, but what else you gonna do?
Right.
And you got to do something with it.
So for us to go in and inspect people's tanks that are below their patio or something like that, for us to do it, we're gonna have to cut up the concrete and start, hoping we find it at the first time. If not, you're gonna have to keep going until you find it. And then come back. That's gonna be pretty costly once you start saw cutting and replacing concrete. What are your thoughts there? Is that something, if we get to a house that has it,
Notify and give them
the
6 months?
Yeah, or do you say, no, put this second priority and focus on all the other ones that are, which you're able to access?
We still need mechanism in place to deal with it. I mean, and I think part of that's probably gonna go to the city attorney, somebody, and say, what? Because if you start cutting the private property like that, there's gonna be a sticky situation. Like,
At some point, you think that those people who have that situation, they're gonna run into a problem anyway.
But if we're gonna take it all over, it's gonna be the city's problem.
I say take note of it and put it in as, it's not, it's gonna be the city's problem whenever it's a problem, when it is a problem.
That's
For the ones that are installed improperly.
It's not a simple situation, but I would like leaving something for somebody else to have to deal with.
So is it something we can give time frame? Like, hey, here's the deal. We need, you got 6 months to address this. We'd like to work with you with it. What can we do? Is it something you can do? I mean, there's conversations happening
Yeah.
there.
There's definitely, we're gonna have to be the bad guy. Technically, right now, if you came into me and said, I wanna pour a patio on top of my septic tank, we don't allow it. It's, but somebody didn't pull a permit, violated city ordinances, technically, it's on them, because they violated city ordinance to pull a permit, stuff like that. But then you go back to, well, you might not have been the homeowner when this was done, so now you sort of absorb that violation. How do we as a city and good faith work with it to make it correct and everything, not upset citizens?
Well, there's gonna be people with holes cut in patios. And there's gonna be people with wooden decks with access hatches put in them.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it would be unreasonable to make somebody tear out their patio. Or tear out their patio. But you have to have, it's part of the infrastructure. I mean, it affects not only you, but your neighbor.
Right.
And specifically, that's the reason we're all sitting here.
And if the city's gonna take over the maintenance of it, we have to have a system that we can maintain. And part of that is making sure that the tanks are accessible.
And it does need to be very clear that in the event of that tank, if we have to take responsibility for it as a city, then it needs to be very clear that when the event that tank fails and needs to get replaced, that we're not on the hook for replacing what's above it.
Exactly.
I mean, fine, let it ride for now. We'll put some holes in it, whatever we have to do to make it just like my driveway. But if the city's gonna come in and tear out, a huge hole in my driveway, the city can't be responsible. I can't expect my neighbors. I personally, as a homeowner in that situation, cannot expect my neighbors, as the city, to absorb the cost of replacing my driveway. And it's not a patio I'm talking about. It's not a 2-inch thick patio. I mean, I've got a 4-inch thick slab on top of it. So I can't expect my neighbors to pay for that.
Okay.
Is that fair?
So we would more or less go in and start making a list. And once we get the list of all the homes that have septic tanks underneath concrete or some kind of structure, we would then take that list and start addressing them.
How you gonna find it?
Huh?
How you gonna find that? How you gonna find that septic tank out of that?
No,
slab?
how would you?
If they don't know,
I found it.
you can,
Well, okay.
Cameron,
Yeah, there's ways to find it.
Shoot, maybe unless
Yeah, well, we've done several of those.
It shouldn't, in this, I believe in this, it should have a little exception saying, city must be able to have access to the septic tank. And it's up to the homeowner to provide that access. That covers everything.
Have like your normal one written and to the ones that are the exception have a rider out by the side. If you fall within these guidelines, then here's the stipulation.
Just simply, one of your bullets is a homeowner must provide access to the tanks.
Right. And then it's up to the homeowners to provide access, so that homeowner's gonna have to come in and say, well, somebody poured a concrete slab over it. You're gonna have to get a hole or dig a hole or do something to get us access as a city.
When they bought that house, they bought the problem.
Right.
Just didn't know of it.
Didn't know it, but
Terrible, but
it's causing problems throughout the city too, because they can't get their septic system clean, it's backing up, it's gonna be a EPA problem. And the green tank's gonna fill up, like we saw pictures of the green tanks filling up with sewage, so it's gonna be an environmental hazard. So I think that should be added in there, that the city must be able to have access to the septic tank and grease trap.
homeowner must be able to
Provide.
Okay.
If the city's gonna take
I
it over
agree.
though, we're looking at, that tank is almost like an easement.
Yeah.
So, they're going to be able to get to it and whatever.
So that language needs to be clear, that ordinance we're looking at needs to be clear that the city has to have. But, so I have a question. If we say that this homeowner, which I agree with, must provide access, what happens if you have a homeowner that is unable to provide access? So if you have well, the address refuses yet, but what happens if you have a lady who is 70 years old and living by herself and has no way to cut a hole in her patio?
That's a great question.
I mean, how do we absorb that cost? Do we prorate that cost on a water bill? We have to have a mechanism for that. We can't just.
Could be a grant you can apply for maybe.
Yeah, those was one of the grants that I handed out.
With the city, a grant like with the city to, say, hey, I'm kind of indigent and we come, like, I need help with this, and if they qualify and they actually don't have the money to hire somebody to do this, and help them out.
Is it something we absorb as the city? Do we share that cost? Do we finance that cost for them? As far as,
That's a good question. I mean, I can't give you an answer. I mean, that would be something.
My suggestion would be that the individual in that certain situation would go in front of the city council and say, this is my situation, can you help me? And the city council will say, okay, let's see what we can do with that individual. Each individual is different, but by having the city council who has the authority for the budgets and all that, they can make that decision of saying, well, we'll give you 50% off or 10% off, or I'll only charge you $10 more a day. Let the city council make that decision. But by having that in this little quote, in the by having that, we can have that access. And then each individual case can present their case to the city council.
One thing you could do is, if their elderly is lien it, and then you get paid when the property sells.
That's what I was going to say, but I didn't want to throw out the L word.
File a lien on the property.
Yeah.
Then if they can pay it off before they.
is there a mechanism?
Or it just puts off until the property's sold, and it can't be sold until it's paid off.
Okay.
And if that's the case, it's probably gonna be the heirs, trying to sell off the property.
But it's something that I tried to bring up earlier. What about if you have somebody that refuses to give you access to their tanks? I mean, what is our standing?
City of Wichita Falls, if the inspector comes and orders something done, you got a certain amount of time where your water shut off.
You have that right.
Yeah, it'd be a violation of city ordinance, and then you would set a fine for whatever your violation is, 500, 1,500, whatever you want to set the fine at. If you give them 30, 60 days to come into compliance, and if they don't come into compliance, then there's a fine, and if they.
Or you just shut the water off and they'll come in compliance real quick.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's not the.
Yeah, we don't want the inspectors to tear down our ordinance.
Yeah,
But it's something needs to be put in here.
yeah, I'm gonna put in there, homeowner must provide access to that,
Right.
and then if unable to pay, city will absorb the cost. And then y'all wanna use the option of a lien will be filed on the home, that's the way we can get the money.
Is there a mechanism that we already have in place for the city to eat the cost of that and put it on the water bill? Do we already have, does that require something, some law, some regulation? How does the city pay for something and then retrieve that money back to the owner without using the L word? Like you brought it up a couple meetings ago about the idea of being able to put.
You would almost have to go into I don't know if you can call it a service agreement, but we do have options where, say for instance, you get a plumbing leak on your stuff and you've gone for two weeks and you don't know when your water bill is astronomically high, you can fill out a thing saying, I need 6 months to pay this water bill off. And at the end of 6 months, you have to pay it off. Everything has to be paid off plus the previous months from then. So you can do a payment plan.
So we already have a mechanism.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's only for water service. So we would have to amend it and make it to where you go to a payment plan for it. See, I don't know if it's something you wanna do for 6 months, or just something you wanna say, okay, well, you got 18 months to pay this bill back off.
Paid by how much it is.
Depend on the
Cost.
situation.
Yeah.
It all be different.
That's why I
So what
said-
I think y'all are saying is more or less, let it come back to city council saying, let them come before the city council, plead their case. I can't afford this. I want a fixed income. I need to pay this off. I can't pay it off. Y'all can file a lien on my house.
Yeah, I think that needs to be an option. I believe it should be an option.
They're gonna sell the Mercedes or something that far off.
No, that's good.
Some folks put a lien on it would ease their anxiety about having to have to pay it off, you know?
That's true.
Yeah, I think you're right. So let me ask you this, and so obviously, we're putting this contractor would have to fill out this, take pictures, put risers on it, so when he does get to homes that are underneath the surface, are we asking that contractor to go in, put the camera, find it, locate it, cut the concrete, put it on? Or
I would say we need to, I would say
make a
that
list first, and then
Need to
we
contact
the city
homeowner
needs,
before you
needs to
cut.
make contact that homeowner. We don't need to put them in contract.
So if the,
If we get to a point where the homeowner, we can't get access to it, we need to ask that contractor locate it and get it and send it back to the city, then the city needs to go back and make contact with that person and say, here's the problem. And here are the possible solutions we've got.
yeah, so we're sort of looking at, rather than the contractor give us a lump sum to do all 455 homes, it's gonna be on a home basis. Well, hey, this home meets all the criteria, I can do everything you asked me to, it's gonna cost $400. Hey, I can't do it on this home because I can't access the thing, I can put the green thing, so I can only inspect the green tank and put the riser on the green tank, it's only $100 to do this home.
A, B, and C.
Well, they would just, yeah, we give them, this is what we want on every home, and if you can meet all of it, this is how it's gonna cost. You can only meet 9 of the 10 requirements, this is what it's gonna cost. 8 of the stuff like that, is that what you're saying?
I think we're gonna, that's where we're gonna have to go.
We just don't want to go in and cut on somebody's driveway or their slab or their deck without talking to them.
I think if you have the contractor just go in there and start cutting concrete, you put that contractor in a really bad.
Oh, I wouldn't want to do it.
Yeah. So then those, we would want pictures and diagrams of where the tank is underneath the surface.
And a good solution with the homeowner.
If you get the location of the tanks, you're gonna have to be inside the homeowner's house, I'm assuming.
Unless they have a clean out, unless they have a clean out outside, then you can scope from there.
Well, they're gonna have that, they'll have some.
Or you go down the bench and get on the roof.
Well, you also have the green tank, you can get the green tank, go back up that line to the green tank, right?
Not necessarily. A lot of these things come out of tanks and they die.
Do that.
But they would all be-
If you put a camera in, how close can you get to knowing where the center of the tank is? And from a saw cutting,
Well, in the past, we've gone in there to hit the T and we just measured,
Yeah,
get around that T.
that's where you stop, you look at where that T is, and that'd be the outer edge.
I'm just trying to ascertain, you know, if you have to saw cut it, how big of a saw cut you have to do? Can you hit it, you know, where it's like a 2 foot by 2 foot?
Might depend on the tank.
Well, it is, it's depending on where the tank is. The hole might not be above the clean out.
Yeah, and the size, I mean, it's not gonna tell you the size of that tank, I'll look at it to its go through, all you're gonna see is just the T where it just drops down into water.
Thought I had that.
It gives you a general idea.
I hope there's not too many
I don't think there is that many of them. That's why I was gonna suggest if we get to that point, because it sounds like this council's gonna be in place for a while. If it comes back to y'all and y'all decide how to proceed as city council. You know, maybe this house is in a newer part of town and they don't really, maybe not have a problem. Instead of just forcing people to saw cut patios just because we think it's there.
You know, eventually, they're gonna have it cleaned out.
Yeah, they're just gonna have access to it.
And if we're requiring, like this says, every 5 years, it's gonna come up pretty quick.
We've done stuff up in flower beds where there's no access at all because they poured sidewalks next to the pool, next to a house, and there's just no access over it once you just barely find.
I personally would just like to have a list of what we're, how many we're looking at. We looked at 5, or we looked at 35, and we'll go from there. That's what I think.
You won't know that till you go through all the inspections.
Exactly.
That's why each house is different. That's why they could present their case to the city council.
Yeah.
And make their wishes known, and then the city council could make a decision based upon the homeowner's information and what the inspector found and what the inspector could do.
And some of these guys that's got patios poured over them, you know, they're gonna have to saw cut it out. They don't want a riser stuck up in your patio, so they may opt to, let's just move that tank. This is one and done deal.
That's right. This way, let the homeowner make the decision too. You work with him and see what you can come up with.
Even before we start doing anything, we've got to communicate with the homeowners that this is going to take place, inspections, and we have to have access.
You could just have one of the maintenance guys just go, like, not even do an inspection, just go from yard to yard and see, and take a note of which ones are obviously good or which ones are gone. Just to have an idea how many houses we're gonna have to search.
Yeah, well, I think you'll get that in an inspection. Because I'm assuming whatever contract he gets is just gonna hit every home in Lakeside City. And then they come back and say 400 of them are good, 55 of them are not. But you got issues with concrete on top.
This will let them worry about it. This will also be in effect for whatever new homes come in, this new addition comes in.
Correct. Yep, correct.
Well, we'll talk about new addition. Have you ever thought about having, if you want, like that contractor wants to put in 42 new houses, have you ever requested that the contractor must come up with an idea, must pay for it?
Contractor must pay for what?
The sewer.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the
Because that's something that
developer should pay for it. Yeah.
they were when I was talking to Tom Barnett in the Brazos Team Regional Planning Committee, he was saying if a developer is coming in, like you're saying, 42 houses, he should pay for that cost.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
So I don't know what has been discussed with the city council about that, but if he wants to put in that many homes, he's gonna have to pull some money for the septic tank.
Right.
And he can charge it to the homeowners or the new lots or whatever, but he should bear the cost.
Yeah.
Just like any development, they have to put in the water, the streets and all
Are you
that.
talking in regards to the septic tanks and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like if you're building a new home in Lakeside City right now, you're gonna have to pay for the green tank, the city's green tank, and the septic tank. You gotta pay for all that.
But he was saying paying for the sewer system too. Not just the property on the.
Oh, you're gonna have developers for the infrastructure too.
Yeah, he's gonna have to pay for that too.
Yeah, Lakeside City's never,
Has that been discussed?
yeah, you know, that's where the council pretty much stands on this one right now is the developer wants to build anything, they're responsible for the infrastructure. We've never paid for any infrastructure before, why start now?
That's something I thought, well, you know, if the contractor is willing to pay 40% of our cost, we'll pay 60. And if he wants to build, he can build. That's something the city council might suggest to the contractor.
Yeah.
And it's more than reasonable for him because he'll just add it on to the property, but it's less money on us.
Yeah.
I mean, I say us, the city, because that's part of his requirement as a contractor.
Right.
Okay. Sorry to get off something.
So can we have a vote with the, you want to read off what the change is to send it to council?
For the ordinance,
Yeah.
the change that I have is that homeowners shall provide access to the tanks. If unable to, then I mean, I'll get the technical, if I'm unable to, then must appear before city council and plead their case and ask for a payment for a lien to be filed.
I would make a motion to send that to the city council.
I'll second the motion.
All those say aye.
Aye.
We have no names. Pass unanimous.
As we said, we call them 70-old. All these old people.
Season. Next one is discussion and review of our presentation with Kevin Chafee. I did get a letter from him today with an extremely rough estimate. And it is also more than almost tripling the capacity that we have now. We're right now at 40,000. He is looking at going to 135,000 gallons, and we can do it in steps, but this is the worst case scenario, pie in the sky price. And it will also handle 700,000 gallons in case there's an emergency, like a tending train or something like that. The cost is $785, and it is scalable. His suggestion was, again, that he wanted to hit it with everything that we could possibly be looking at. This does not include us negotiating with them or anything. This is just a budgetary number, and we should have it revised in probably 2 to 3 weeks.
Now, there's a lot more cost in that, with anybody else's proposal, with the other, what's not included, the buildings, electricians, the piping. So we would have to get some sort of drawing from him to be able to give to a contractor to get bids, to get a total cost for that. For that one or anyone else, for that matter.
Correct.
So we need some more documentation. from
Right,
him.
and this is just, he came and talked to us last week. It was 4th of July week, nobody was open, he couldn't get any prices on anything. So he just put a number to it so that we would have a number to discuss from. But this is also based on 135,000 gallons a day.
I'm just wondering what it does not include costs, because you got pretty extensive list right there. I bet you're looking at $1 million.
That's exactly what I was in here thinking.
You're looking at $1 million, I think I was all set down.
Which, $1 million is solve our problem for the next 50 years?
A lot more than 50.
Well, I'm just saying, I mean, just for instance,
I do know along the side thing with this, there was another sales rep, wastewater tech, that came in and presented something to Dean. And for just the equipment alone, shipped to Lakeside City, it was $430,000. And then you had to come in and they just put one in, I think, in Valley View. And the equivalent size and for the construction of the concrete and everything else. Now, these things are a little bit more elaborate. It's an advanced SBR system, a little bit more elaborate on the install. The install was close to $1 million, and I think they were out the door for $1.5 million on everything. Don't quote me on this, but the installation of these package plants of Kevin is not as intensive as other ones, so I don't want to say that you're not going to be $1 million and come back to be $1 million, but I know it's not as extensive as the other ones.
I think if we were to put a scope of work, a scope out for bid, that we would find out that $1 million, even if you look at what our cost was to go to Wichita Falls,
$850,000.
I mean, so what, I mean, $1 million is $1 million, but it's a municipal $1 million for a sewer system for a city. I think by the time you bid this out, and you have some contractors look at this and different vendors bid,
and some
They-
grants,
What's that?
and get some grants.
Well, I mean, just, if you're gonna look at it, and I don't think $1 million is gonna be that far out of there. I think anybody else is probably gonna be. I think we're gonna find, when we put it out, that $1 million is probably gonna be a pretty good deal.
I sent this email over to Dean as soon as I got it. It sent to me at 3:47 today. And he looked at it, reviewed it. He had a couple of questions. He's compiling a list of questions that he has to send back to Kevin, just to ask him. And then, once he gets those questions answered from Kevin, where it goes from there is he puts engineering, or he gives us a cost estimate for the plant to be installed and everything else based upon them. That's how it is with most of the things we do. Is Dean comes back with an engineering cost of, hey, I think it's gonna cost $100,000 to build this. He can put it out for bid. Sometimes it's $90,000, sometimes it's $110,000. But he gives, that way you can have sort of a rough cost of what it is.
So do we just give a set of specifications that say this has to be able to ingest this and put out this? Here's your footprint.
VODs and VODs and CODs.
So that's,
So TCEQ gives us something, hey, this is the requirements you're gonna meet. And then we give it to Dean, and Dean says, okay, I would put, this is what my recommendation is. But now, we also got this from this other one, and so he looks at this, he said, no, that's a good idea too. And so you have a couple different options. This is more or less, if you're buying a car, do you want Ford, Chevy, or whatever? Something like that, that you make the decision when it comes down, who comes in with the best price for you and what you want.
Well, I mean, I really can't hear everything's going on down there. When we're looking at, we're gonna make a recommendation whether to go with the package plan or go to city or whatever. And then it'll be up to the council. The city
Yeah.
council to put out those bids and decide which one.
So right now, there's three options on the table. There's City of Wichita Falls, which is one option. The advanced SBR system, which is the $430,000 plus cost of installing it. And then there's Kevin Chapey that presented this. So those are the three options we have right now. We're trying to get a close as we can. This is our options. This is also the cost of operating one a year. So you can factor in all that. And you can look, we can show the public, these are the three options. And then you have options after that. Y'all can make your recommendation and tell council, we recommend option number one, and council choose it, or council can decide, hey, we don't want to make the decision, let's put all three of these options out for a vote, let the public vote on all three of them. And so, that's how.
I just wanted to get a number to you guys so that you have something, a baseline to look at. And I told when I talked to Kevin on the phone this afternoon, and I said, after they picked me up off the floor, I said, we need to trim about $125,000 off of it. And he said, yeah, he said, when I get my prices in, and then we'll sit down with you, because again, we use this as a test case. This is just, he said, you just need to tell the people, this is a high estimate, and he said, I'd rather have it sitting there with a not to exceed than for me to come in and say it's 600 and it's really gonna be 704. And we should have our operating and maintenance numbers next week. Okay.
C is the, I know last week y'all discussed about doing a public input meeting. Y'all feel we are ready to do that by next Tuesday, if y'all want to wait for some more. Dean's saying he needs another week, or a solid 10 days before he can come up with all his numbers. He's gonna be doing some liner tests out there at the lagoon tomorrow morning. And so I know he's working diligently on it. We're just not his only city. So, I didn't know if y'all wanted to still proceed forward for next Tuesday to the public input meeting, or if y'all want to wait another week and get more concrete answers. That's y'all's
Yeah.
choice.
Yeah, we'd rather have good, solid information in hand.
To present the public when they have.
So that following week the art council meeting.
Yeah, we could do it.
To-
Wednesday or whatever y'all prefer, Monday, whatever. As soon as we can get some stuff back from me, then I can email y'all and say, hey, here's our solid numbers. I'll give you dates. Hopefully next Tuesday we can set a date.
The other thing I wanted to get a vote on is that glossary of terms, so that Eric can put it on the website when we start.
I thought it was good. Very good.
You put I and I on there.
That's it, I'd look up, see what the actually
I still don't know what it is.
Infusion and infiltration. I looked at this,
I think it seems to be a word we've seen, abbreviations seen a lot, so actually it's really.
And then just a personal note, with us putting those check valves in those screen tanks, we're gonna be able to tell when this is done with the next heavy rain, how much less water that we're going to be processing. So,
The next heavy rain, and like fall.
well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, we
After
have
it was
to-
done,
I think we just missed it.
after it was done, it took a long
Yeah.
time for you to get back.
Do y'all, how far along are you on the pollution, Scott? Do y'all, are you still?
I would probably have that ready for you for next week.
Perfect, cool. What else? Anything else?
You want to talk about funding?
Y'all should all have an email. Larry put it all in our group email.
Did everybody get the email that I received from Tom Barnett? He's been here to Wichita Falls. He was here when we had that drought in Lake Wichita was all dry. They were trying to get some money to figure out how they were gonna get water. So he's been here. And he talked about our situation. I talked to him about our situation, what we're looking into. And I talked to him about our II problem and the soil problem. And he gave me some suggestions, and some are loans, some are grants, some are loans forgiveness. But the area that I thought would be best for us is under the Texas Water Development Fund, or called the D Fund. What it does, what type of projects are funded, and it does sewer treatment plants, water treatment plants, storage reservoir tanks, pumping facilities, retail, and it's all under that grant. The grant, problem with the grant is grants are submitted at any time, but the grants are looked at in March and awarded in September. So we're looking at this is 2020, so the grants they're gonna approve in September are for 2021. So any grant that we would receive would be in 2022. September of 2022. Just kind of put that in the back of your mind, that we're looking at 2022 for grant. They do have a process that they do a pre-application. And in that pre-application, they have their engineers, legal team, financial aspect, and all the team members from the Texas Water, Soil and Water Conservation. This is for the Brazos, it's called the Brazos Regional Team, which we are under. And they would look at our project, see if it's legal, feasible, engineering difficulties we might have, or they'll work with us, and they'll work with us financial aspects. We'd have to have a pre-application meeting to do this. And the other grant is grant.gov, which is federal, and most of those grants are very long-term. Like one grant opened June the 17th or June 20th, and it won't expire until June 20th of 2025. So they're long-term grant applications. And some of these grants are for $200-300 million facilities. So we just have to if we see a grant, we'd have to jump on it, but there's time involved. There's another non-grant facility, which is for private donors or companies like Gates Foundation, Coca-Cola Foundation. And there's a company that lists those grants all the time. It's called Grants Gopher. Gopher, Gopher. Gopher. And they list all the grants that are available for the non-governmental facilities. Grants. And I'm talking like, these are like Coca-Cola, Target, those kind of grants. Library services. So it's out there, but the main thing we have to do to apply for these grants is have all our ducks in a row. We have to have our engineering done, we have to have our plans done, we have to have what we need, what cost factors, or like you're saying, how much it's gonna cost us to do the tanks, and all those factors will be listed. Then we submit that to a grant. And that's where you get your grant writers. This team will look at that and say what we need to do, what we don't need to do. But you have to have a team go up there, or you have to get an appointment for a pre-application. And it's with the Texas Soil and Water Conservation. And it's under the Clean Water Act. And under Section 319. So all that is available. And there's certain grants that we don't, like there's one grant called the CDG program grant by the Texas Department of Agriculture, but the maximum you can have is $350,000. Some are 60-40, some are loans with forgiveness. And I really didn't want to get into the loan business. But they are available. So it's just, once we have our ducks in a row, we can start putting in these applications or requesting a pre-application meeting with these people. These people don't do the project, but they listen to our projects, see if it's legal, see what we can do and what's good, what's not good about it, and with their engineers. And he would say he'd gladly come up here. He would like to come to Wichita Falls. We have a lot more information. I said we were at the beginning stages of this, where we've got to do something. And that's when he brought up the thing about the contractor. Who wants to build these houses, he should bear some of this cost. Not the city should bear it all. The contractor should bear it. Because if he wants to put them in, he needs to put the money in to upgrade our system.
Well, we're not doing this system to make room for new houses. We're doing this system so we can continue to use our sewer.
Right. But when you're gonna start adding 42 new houses or 242 new houses, that's gonna really put a fine on our system. And by having him having some money to to contribute to that, it's gonna lessen the city's cost. Because the city can say, no, I don't wanna build no 242 new houses in my area. We don't have the water, or we don't have the septic system to accommodate that. So their biggest problem is now water. They have a big issue with water. They can't get enough water. And the people who do have the water are keeping the water. So that is part of the issue they have now. But he was very informative, and I had a really good conversation. And read that email that I sent you. If you got any questions, please contact me. But it gives all the information and the websites for Texas. Anybody have any questions or anything?
Thank you, Larry.
You're welcome.
That's all I got.
That's all I've got. You guys got anything? Motion to adjourn. Go home.
Time you're putting on the